Peace, everyone. Thank you for coming to my Rose Golden Hour. Super excited. We have the second guest so far, Miss DeShaun. And yeah, just waiting on her to pop on and we can get started.
Okay, great. Here we are.
Hey.
So, unfortunately, technology, you know how that goes.
Yeah,
Um, Anyways, thanks for having me on here.
thank you for being a part of it.
Definitely. I see there's someone who's actually a part of my doula training. She's watching right now. Sharnisa
Okay.
down there watching.
All right. So, to everyone coming in, the name of this episode is Inside Scoop, evolving from a Black doula to a Black midwife. So before we get started, I just wanted to do some introductions. My name is Stephanie Jack. I am a mom. I am a birth worker. I'm an artist. I'm many things. And I wanted to start with you, DeShaun. Tell me, who are you and what are some words that you use to describe yourself?
I would say, well, first, I'm DeShaun. I'm a birth worker. I'm a doula. I'm a student midwife. I'm a mom to two very active toddlers. Ooh, child. And I'm also I'm a thinker, and I'm a vegan. I've been vegan for 4 years, and I'm an advocate as well. I would say I'm an advocate, and I'm definitely like a go-getter, entrepreneur, and I'm a very much like envisionary person. I envision a lot of things, and I try to go after it, or I do end up going after it.
Mhm.
And I'm also an author. I wrote two books, two children's books.
Yes, you did. So where are you located?
I'm in North Houston, north side of Houston.
Okay, I am too. I've been out here for about 3 years. It's gonna be my last year in Greens Point, but I've
Yeah.
been I've been all over.
Yeah. I used to live in Greens Point, and so I know what you mean. But I've been in Houston all my life. Besides, anytime I left, like I went to the military. So during the military, I was going for like almost 4 years, something like that. And then I just ended up once we were done, ended up right back in Houston. So
Okay, what specifically did you do in the military?
well, my actual job was a fueler, basically to fuel vehicles, but you end up not actually doing your job. You do like many other jobs plus your actual job. So I did everything from office work to field work to whatever.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
hmm
So what do you do currently?
So that's a good question because I do many things. I do things people don't even know that I do. Like today, I was fixing up a property. A lot of people don't know that I just started dabbling in like real estate. So I was doing that earlier. But my main, what I am, when people know who I am when they see me, is I'm a doula. I'm a doula and I'm a student midwife. So I'm in midwifery school. Um, and I also train doulas, or I train and certified doulas. So yeah, that's like my main thing. And then the boss of my kids, I homeschool them. So I'm also like a teacher. But as far as income, my job titles mainly a doula and a doula trainer.
How long have you been a birth worker?
I think started getting interested into birth work. But it primarily started with breastfeeding 4 years ago. So yeah, so everything started with breastfeeding, and then it was just kind of like, oh, natural lifestyle, and then I actually got like my certification maybe 2 years ago or something like that. But honestly, when I went to go get my certification for to be a doula, it was everything I already knew. It was, you know. It was nothing I didn't know already.
What do you say to the dynamics of certifying and versus, because you know it's aspects of you can be in a program and certify, but you may not have all of the knowledge and the experience. You
Hmm.
need to go and educate yourself. Whereas a lot of people, including myself, I did pay for training, still certifying, but I'm basically doing all of the work to educate myself and experience, get
Hmm.
experience. So what do you say as far as like the whole dynamics of being certified and not certified?
Okay, so this can go many ways. Because there's a lot of certification programs that are just they're not it, which is what led me to do the certification training program that I'm doing. Because there's so many trainings out here that don't prepare you for anything, and they don't even tell you that this is a continual education career. Like you're going to have to continue to learn, but they don't even give you the tools or the resources to do that. And then also, what I have to say to people that think that people have to have a certification, that's not necessarily true because like I said before, my certification program that I went through, um, I knew everything. It honestly was so boring. I felt like it was wasting my money. But that's because, I'm also like a self-teacher. Like I went out and got a lot of information myself. I taught myself everything, whatever. And so some people might be like, oh, well, if you don't have a certification, then you're not, like you're not a real doula, whatever. That's not necessarily true because there's a lot of certified doulas out here that I'm teaching. And I look at and I'll be like, well, how you not know this? So I would say, not to look down on people who are either certified or not certified. And that's the issue that I have with the hospitals right now because with COVID going on, they're like, oh well, you have to we need to see your certification paperwork or whatever. We need to see something that shows that you're a doula, and they want like a certificate. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. It's just another barrier that we have to get through. But there's certification programs out here that I just feel are not really in doulas and birth workers' best interests, and unfortunately, I feel like those are programs that's also leaving out the Black birthing community, and they're not led by the Black birthing community. And because Black birth is so, Black birth is so important in birth all around, right? Because birth honestly started with us, right? And birth work also was evolved and started with us as well. And also now there's a crisis with us. So you can't really teach birth without teaching black black birth. And so many programs are leaving out black birth period or even leaving out any statistics about, there's plenty of doulas out here that are non-POC and they don't even know that black women are dying 4 to 6 times more likely than other white women. It's like, so how do you not know that? You know? But these are people that are certified.
Yeah. Um, I had a thought when you were talking about this particular thing because in our student midwives group, I brought up this idea about the rights over my birth packet from Sacred Birth Doula. And the idea in itself, as far as like creating a legal document to take to the hospital, have your provider sign, hold them accountable to ensure that, the birth plan you work so hard to, give your client all the things that they want to have happen is executed. Everyone switches up. It's not them in control. They are giving you the bedside manner that you are basically paying for, regardless of the insurance or whatever. But you have to pay for this packet. And what the idea was in our group, because Rain the doula
Mm-hmm.
came up with the fact that, we can come together and create one specifically for our people and it be even better.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I wonder with the know your rights packet, and we do like the return to work information for our breastfeeding moms and creating that space in the workplace so that they have the ability to breastfeed and do it in a safe, clean environment. I'm wondering if that's what we need to do to go ahead and change things around because we're asking nicely, we're coming in with the certificates, we're doing all these different things just for them to say, oh, you're not allowed in, but legally we have a right to be in this space. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that that should be the next step for this new generation of birth workers, especially our women of color that
Mm-hmm.
are in birth work.
I think that's a
Um,
good idea. I did see the notifications pop up for our group. I didn't check them because at that time I think I was at that property, that house I was talking about. So I have to check it out. But you're right. I mean, the whole night asking nicely all the time, or doing things by their book or whatever. It does get tiring. It's annoying. So yeah, definitely. I mean, I definitely feel like that's a turn, and maybe implementing that. Um, for instance, like I'm training doulas, right? So like implementing that, teaching other doulas, hey, you need to do this, especially for your clients that are black or people of color.
yes. Before we dive deeper into racism and birth work, I wanted to share something else because I recently was hired to be a postpartum doula or newborn care specialist through the Motherhood Center. And they did this questionnaire where they ask you like 150 questions just to see what you know about um, postpartum, about birth, about different things that occur with new babies. And I added in the questionnaire that specifically the term doula, after doing research or whatever, it means woman servant in Greek, basically slave. And so it was brought to my attention by Brianna, and I've changed the narrative around saying birth worker instead of doula, which I know, of course, everyone uses doula as a term. I'm not saying that everyone should just cut it out, but just giving them insight on that was one thing that I did. I brought up the idea because I had the first time I had applied to even work for them, they had, denied me because I had no certificate to be a birth doula or whatever that they were going to hire me for. And I came to them with the idea of what about doing having birth planning sessions, doing like a know your rights document for your clients, so that way you can have your birth doulas going into the hospital. And they completely just looked over it. And I think that that is a confirmation for me to pursue it so that I can get my clients the birth that they need and we
Mm-hmm.
actually do it. Because no, they're not talking about, black birth. They're not talking about how slavery created obstetrics, period, in the hospitals that they literally make money off of us, through. So I think that a lot of insight into the dynamics of systemic racism in the birth space needs to be discussed too. Um, so yeah, what are your um, thoughts and insights on racism in the birth workspace? I remember you telling me some very eye-opening statistics on Houston, specifically Texas, as far
Mm-hmm.
as the midwifery spectrum.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So first of all, Steph, you know me. There's people on this live that know me. I see Bianca on here. Y'all know what my favorite word is. Is racist. Okay? My favorite word is racist. I am quick to call someone racist. If you racist, you're racist. And I'm gonna call you out. There's a lot of racism going on here in Houston. There's a lot of racism going on in the birth world. There's a lot of racism going on and systemic racism going on in the hospitals. There's racism going on beyond midwives and doulas and lactation consultants. So let's start there. Second, why is Houston like the third largest city in the U.S. and we only have 3 black midwives? Okay, then how that cycle is going to stay there. You know why it's going to stay like that? Well, first of all, it's not going to stay like that because we have a new circle. We have people that we're going to just have to rise up. But the reason that this has been an issue for so long is because in order to become a midwife, you still have to be trained by other midwives, right? So you're telling me I only have the previous one aspiring midwives before us who are black. You only have 3 options. Really, they only had 2 options because Francis just got licensed a year or something like that ago. So they only had 2 options of people to work with. Safe spaces, I'll say. Safe spaces that they know, okay, this is at least a black midwife, you know. So that's gonna keep, that's very discouraging. It's either, okay, I can only work with one of these two people and hopefully they're available, or let me go hope that these other people just aren't racist. And what I'm teaching y'all, what I'm teaching the student midwife group is that we're gonna have to work with some racists. We just have to pick who's a little bit less racist, right? But we are sacrificing for the future Black midwives, because once we get to the level where, okay, now we can teach or whatever, they don't nobody else have to worry about that, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna have to take the bullet. We're gonna have to get through that. But oh yes, a lot of racism going on, and I'll be quick to call it out too. And let me tell you, um, some of the, I'm gonna just go ahead and say it, white midwives in Houston, oh, they're gonna hate it when I get my license. Oh,
Yes.
they're not gonna like it because I don't hold my time.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, do you know about Dr. Midwife? Her name is,
Mm-hmm.
and whenever you said that, it just made me think about her because she's the only person recently that I see that will not hold her tongue, that will
Oh no,
speak,
she don't.
you know, she's gonna speak on
I wish she was watching right now.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. She has, oh, she's amazing. And she's opened up a birthing center.
Yes.
She's opened a birth center. Now, like last year, I remember when she was working, she probably still works there, but I remember when she was working at out of a hospital.
Mhm.
And she would post that basically it was crappy care. It was crappy care because I want to say it was, I don't know if it was Medicaid. I don't remember if she was accepting Medicaid or what it was, but basically they were scheduling people at the same times, so everybody has 5 minutes for appointments. Um, she just went on and on and on about how it was crap, and that's something we had to change too.
You mentioned to me when we did our Zoom call about 2 months ago, almost 2 months ago, you spoke about the fact that the Black OB isn't going to save you. Um, what did you mean by that?
Well, yeah, I did mention that, and I actually posted about it the other day on Facebook. And it's funny, Dr. Midwife, I remember now, this is gonna be a little vulgar, but she came out straight. She straight came out and she was like, "A Black OB is not gonna save that ass," and it's not. It's not. You know why? Because they still work for the systemic racism corporation. They still work for the people that think that you're just a number on a chart. You're still just a number on a chart, and they're going to take up for their colleagues. You know, if their colleague did something and went ahead and stretched you from a 3 to a 4 centimeter after they told you not to, which by the way is medical rape, um, they're just going to say, "Oh, they're just trying to help you." No, she assaulted me, right? Um, they still work for an institution that's just over medicalized. That doesn't know what birth is. That doesn't understand that birth is just birth. Like, you're having a baby. Like, you're not about to die unless you kill me, which we see is happening in hospitals. But you still work for this corporation. You still work for this industry, right? That's like saying one of Hitler's soldiers, like one of them is a good soldier. You still work for the people. Yeah, okay, maybe you're freeing up some of them. Maybe you're taking some out and letting some of them escape. But guess what? You still work. You still work here. So I've personally seen some of them, Black OBs, unfortunately, try to befriend the client, befriend the patient, like, yeah, girl, I got your back, kind of thing, whatever, just so they can not, so the client won't question them when it comes to medical procedures or things like induction or something, because now they have this trust thing going on, right? Um, so there's no question about it. I see that all the time. It happens. So no, Black OB, don't just say, "Oh yeah, my doctor's Black." That don't mean nothing. It would behoove you to get someone of color. Your best interest is a Black midwife at a for a home birth or a birthing center. And then your next bet is a Black OB, but you need to have a Black doula. You need to have a doula with you if you're going to be at the hospital.
Mm. Um, We also talked about the community relationship between midwives and birth workers. We talked about, you mentioned that you were fighting for your Black clients, for yourself, holding guard and peace in these stressful situations. I think you were working a particular job at the time, and you were giving insight on how um, the systemic racism was apparent, and yeah, it was like just by your presence being loud, something around the.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay. So, well, I'm just go ahead straight. I'll say that was a preceptorship or why am I losing the word? I don't know why I'm losing the word. You know, when we work with a preceptor, someone who's basically training to become a midwife. Um, so they were white, and it was only basis was only white clients. Now I'm a very Black person. You see me, you see I'm Black. You see my skin is very brown. I have purple hair. I have braids. I'm Black. I wear Black stuff. I wear my fro when I don't have braids, and that was, or I have, I have my head wrapped or something like that. And I knew that that made them feel uncomfortable because they would stare or say little slick clients comments and things of that nature. So that's what I mean by about my presence. Now, as far as my Black clients, I always have to fight harder for my Black clients as far as like me being a doula, um, really in the hospital. But yeah, I do have to go the extra mile, and sometimes it's for both of us because I have to be respected because I'm Black. And so sometimes when we go into the hospital, they don't respect us. It's not just because we're a doula, but also the color of our skin, you know. And they'll try to downplay you. They say, "Oh, well, you don't have a medical degree." Medical degree. First of all, how you know I don't have a medical degree? That's implicit bias that you just put on me right then and there, you know. But yeah, definitely, I do always have to fight for my Black clients way more, and more so in the hospital, of course. But then also I have to fight for myself, being a student midwife, being among other birth workers and midwives who have this power trip, and then are also just happen to be racist or a little bit, judgmental, whatever, or just not used to seeing so much blackness, or just not used to just having Black people around them that don't always hold their tongue. And it's not that I'm not like a loud person or outspoken, whatever. It's just I really feel like me walking into the room with nothing but white midwives with my fro, it makes them uncomfortable, and you can feel it, and you can see it.
Um, you spoke about not ignoring is important in birth work. What did you mean about that?
Not ignoring. I could have been talking about multiple things. I mean,
Did I'm thinking because before that it was about the fact that I believe it was like maybe George Floyd had happened, some other things
mhm.
that had triggered you, and then they were just kind of like acting as if nothing happened, and you were experiencing.
Oh, right. Okay, so yeah, that's a thing. That's definitely a thing. So guys, when I have a video, I have a YouTube video on my channel. If you go on holistic birth and health on YouTube, I have a video that's talking about the correlation between the rise in cortisol levels, which is basically like your stress levels. That in correlation with pretty much the weathering away of Black bodies, like how racism affects our cortisol levels and stuff like that, just as being Black. Now, I want y'all to watch that video and understand that racism directly affects Black health. Now, think of a Black person being pregnant, and then they see this stuff like Breonna Taylor or George Floyd, right? So it hits them harder. It affects them. It affects their pregnancy. It's not just an emotional thing. Okay, this is a chemical reaction, right? And weathering away of our organs, and our respiratory system and our reproductive system, right? Then on top of that, you're around. If you place yourself to be around a person that's not of color, who knows that George Floyd was just murdered, and then his murderers got away with it. But didn't even say, I don't want to say sorry, but didn't even acknowledge it or try to talk to you. You just made it all the more worse. And I've been in that situation, not while I was pregnant, but when I was a student midwife under someone, right? They knew what was going on. I don't remember if that was George Floyd or who it was, but it was like two people in the same week or within 2 weeks, one of our people or two of our people that were killed, right? And I knew they knew. And it was all over social media. It was just like you couldn't escape it. You really couldn't escape it, right? And then I remember seeing the midwife that I was under post a picture of her and her family having a picnic, and it just pissed me off. It pissed me, and it's not like, oh, you can't have a picnic, but it just pissed me off because I'm like, you see every single post on Facebook, on social media is about, George Floyd or, and it's like, okay, then you post that. And then I come to class the next day and you're like, hey, everything okay? Okay, let's get to work. But you know what, Steph? You know what's so crazy? I cried like it took me 40 minutes to drive there to clinic. And I cried the whole way there. You know why? Because I knew they were going to act like nothing happened. And it hurt my feelings. It really hurt my feelings for real. Like the fact that I knew I was going to have to go in here and be a strong Black woman again for them to be knowing what's going on, right? And then, they had the audacity afterwards to tell me that maybe you should try to smile more because you look like you're very uninterested. And
Oh man. Yeah.
That's that stuff I'm talking about. It's like, dang, I can't be Black and pregnant and not be stressed. And I can't even be a student midwife being Black and not be stressed because it's every place I turn. It's like no escaping it.
No. Shortly after that, you began to tell me about your experience with postpartum depression and post traumatic stress disorder in births, period. Um, Tell me about your birth experiences with your children.
Yeah, so it wasn't necessarily, I didn't have postpartum depression, but I did, the PTSD, the memory loss, all that stuff was very apparent. With my first, he's 4.5. Um, this is before I knew like what a doula was and midwife was, whatever. I was in a military hospital and it was just so trash. Like it was trash in that moment, but then knowing what I know now, it was like I don't know how I didn't die, and I almost did though. So like I flatlined, and it was terrible. And they didn't listen to me. I had an emergency cesarean, and I was telling them I was actually begging them to stop cutting me because I could feel it because they didn't know me. And I remember this older white man. He was like, I don't remember exactly what he was saying, but he was just trying to tell me that, oh, there's no way you can feel it. There's no way you can feel it. And I'm sitting here begging. I'm telling you, like, I can feel this. Like, I'm crying. Why aren't you listening to me? You know? And so then I guess then he said, okay, well, let's just hurry up and get him out. Talking about my son. Let's just hurry up and get him out, get him out. So they did, and then they're like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I guess you really isn't. Well, I wasn't making it up. So then he gave me something. After that, I just remember hallucinating. It was just a terrible experience. And after that, I remember that I had bad memory loss like for quite some time. I had my phone number and my address and my zip code written on a sticky note, and I had to tape it to the back of my phone because I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember my zip code, and then like I remember going and asking about it, and then people tried to write it off like, oh, after I had a baby, You forget stuff or whatever. This is months later, like, and traumatic experiences is what, like PTSD, that memory loss. It completely makes sense. I mean, I had a near death experience. you know, I wanted to shock. It was just terrible, and nobody really tried to. They really didn't care. And then even after my son was born, like the nurses acted like they didn't want to help me breastfeed. They had an attitude. I asked, and I remember Anthony was crying, 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 and I just asked, well, can you just take his temperature? And then she got an attitude and went and asked, like, do I really need to go take his temperature? Just stuff like that. It was just a bad experience, just terrible. My second, I knew a little bit better. I did have a midwife, but I still messed up. You know why? Because I didn't have a black midwife. And so I was let down terribly. I was really let down terribly. And I ended up getting transferred to the hospital, and I had to really just hold my ground there, really. Luckily, I did hold my ground. I told everybody just to leave me the hell alone. I didn't let them check me. I kept telling them, leave me alone, leave me alone. I'm going to do what I want to do here. And they did. And they ended up actually calling in a midwife. This is at bedtime. They actually ended up calling in a midwife. And she was white. She's very nice. We're still in contact today, actually. But she ended up telling them, like, hey, she really wants you to leave her alone. This is why. And then she also explained, like, the past trauma I had in the hospital with my first son, or with my son. And she said that I remember her telling me that she felt like crying when she was telling them that, because they didn't understand. They didn't understand that trauma was a real thing in the hospitals. She actually spoke about my story a few weeks ago at a conference. She was teaching about, like, how obstetric trauma is a real big thing, and medical rape is a thing. But she was very disheartened that they didn't understand it. They didn't think this was, like, real. Like, it was like a, you kind of get over it, this happens all the time thing. But I ended up having a VBAC, a vaginal birth after cesarean, with my second. But my next, if I have another one, which I do want to have another one, it's definitely going to be at home. My team is going to be blackity black, 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 black.
Yes.
Okay. So, and that's that.
I appreciate you sharing that again with me and with the world. We started talking about after that about if doulas are a waste of money, because my best friend shared with me something that was exchanged in like a breastfeeding moms group or something, and
Mm-hmm.
someone was talking shit about an experience that they had with a doula and this and that. And so some of the things that you talked about were most women regret not having a doula and express that their experience was horrible, and you don't believe me until it happens to you. So in those situations where I know personally right now, there are so many pregnant women that know that I know that they're pregnant. I've reached out to them. I've tried to do the donation based thing, tried to offer the free, whatever, so I can get testimonials and help other people. But it's like, they're just wanting, not, I don't even want to say that they want to go into trauma, but it's just like they kind of want to keep to themselves. And I keep seeing this narrative of no one is there for me, no one wants to be there for me, I'm just kind of doing this by myself, but you see my messages. And I don't know, maybe it's just me specifically that you don't want to talk to, and that's fine, but I'm seeing that as a common denominator when it comes to trauma too. It's not just, of course it's a systemic situation, it's not just in birth but everywhere, but it's like specifically with people that you want to help, that may not be your clientele base that's going to give you the money, but the people that you really want to help sometimes don't even want you to help them until way after the fact, or way when they just had, their water has broken or whatever the case. So um you mentioned something about what do you learn in your OB visits. Nothing.
You don't
Pretty
learn
much
nothing,
nothing.
but you wasted your doggone time driving
Exactly. Don't know what they're doing to you. It's just kind of like, oh, okay, all right, I'll see you at the next appointment, and you don't really learn anything more. I think it's just um the desire to know the gender of your baby so that you can have the gender reveal and get your family invested in paying for everything but the thing that's going to save your life. And you mentioned that you'll buy bundles but not baby support. And I think
Bruh,
that's important.
listen, when I tell y'all, this is a real thing, okay? I will see pregnant people, and it be our people on my timeline that I've talked to about hiring a doula or maybe just considering midwife. It don't even have to be me. Y'all don't have to hire me. But you're black behind getting a doula. But what you doing? You on Facebook buying bundles and on Facebook getting your nails done, going out to eat, then turn around and tell me I'm too expensive. Baby, no. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because right now, you playing with your life and you playing with your baby's life. You know, um, as far as me talking to people and being like, hey, like what you said, oh, I know they're pregnant, they know that I know that they're pregnant. You sound like me when I first really like kickstarted my business, because it was like I felt like I was talking to people like, hey, congratulations, you're pregnant, whatever. I sent them a message like, congratulations, you're pregnant, I just want to let you know that I offer this, blah blah blah, whatever, blah, blah. And it's not me just trying to get like a client or get money. I'm really trying to help you. I'm really trying to save you, really. And so it's like when you shut me out, or you're just like, oh no, that's okay, whatever. It's like, dang, okay, I'm really trying to help. I'm really trying to help, especially knowing what I went through. Right? Okay, someone just said we prepare for everything, baby showers, gender reveals, and etc. But they don't see the value in doulas. It's so crazy. I don't get it. Y'all will really buy a new outfit and bundles for a baby shower and a gender reveal, buy the special made cupcakes and everything. But then you can't even, I mean, you won't invest in a doula? Y'all spent $50,000 on a wedding and then divorce that man 2 years later? Um, but you won't pay for someone to really educate you and help you and advocate for you, and you know what I'm saying? And this
Yeah.
is this is not just we're not just no birth coach. This is someone that's there for you sometimes preconceptually, because I've helped people get pregnant before through V-steams and looking at what they eat and stuff like that. So I've helped people get pregnant, right? I'm there for them when they're getting pregnant. Then when they are pregnant, the whole time they're pregnant, then I'm there for your birth. Then I'm there postpartum. And then afterwards, I still have people that had their babies with me 6, 7 months ago. They might need help on breastfeeding, they text me, whatever. So you always have someone, but you want to invest in that. But you'll spend however much money on a baby shower, gender reveal, or bundles, or what have you. And then it'll be the same people half the time that go back and say, "Oh, I wish I would have hired you. I wish I would have had a doula because this and this happened," or "Oh yeah, the I ended up with a C-section and this happened," and it was something that would could have been avoided.
Um, a friend of mine that I used to work with, and hopefully she will be my client. I'm offering it free. I'm literally like, okay, this donation based. If you're a woman of color during the
Mhm.
holiday season, get at me for these free gems. That's gonna be worth a lot more later on down the road.
Mhm.
So this one particular queen in particular, who may not even know that she's a queen. Okay, when we talked, she basically brought it down, broke it down to me that what I think the issue too is that what we're trying to do, they want the people in their lives to do it for them, and they don't know
Mm.
how. So it's
Well,
like,
they're not gonna know how because they're not doulas. They're not birth workers.
exactly. And so like the support aspect where it's like, for me specifically, I'm all for um education. Like I feel
Mhm.
like the partner needs to be educated, the grandma, all of the factors, your friends, bringing them into the space to teach you how to, teach you comfort measures, to do this and do that. um we can get to that, but we need to start setting up the appointments. But the first thing that you say is like, in that exchange, it was like she saw my messages and she kept ignoring them, and it was like she wanted her child's father to be there, she wanted her mom to be, she wanted all these different things. But then once she realized that in those moments they couldn't give her what she needed, she went ahead and reached out to me, and we had that
Mhm.
exchange. And that's a process. And a lot of times it's going to be something that they're going to be working through way after the fact. And it's unfortunate because my partner, for example, he has two cousins right now. He has a male cousin and a female. The female is pregnant. Her guy cousin is expecting a baby soon, and I'm reaching out. I'm like, hey, I'm trying to catch y'all before it's too late.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that y'all don't really mess with me. I don't know me. I don't know what my intentions are, but I do want to help you. I do want to like reach out and be there and give you what I can give you so that you can, get to know me and know that, I got your back and support new families trying to do stuff different than their families did. So it's yeah.
It's
It's
annoying.
yeah.
It's disheartening. It is. It is. As far as like, okay, let me tell you this. People, like you said, people they want their partners or their family members to the Lit Studio said she's hoping we're recording this. Yes,
Mm.
yeah, where I record. It's gonna be on your YouTube channel, right, Steph?
Yeah, it's gonna be on my page after this for the replay, and I'm gonna upload it to YouTube as well.
Okay. Um, where was I going? Okay, yeah. So people want their partners to do what we do. It's I don't want to say it's impossible, but it's not going to happen because your partner is not going to be able to sit down and tell you this is the herbs that you need to be drinking for your iron levels, or this is what you can do instead of taking that nasty glucose free glucose test, or this is how you write your birth plan, or this is what you need to have a postpartum plan, or this is what happens when you have a second degree tear, or this is how you buy like is your partner going to sit here and explain the entire birth process from early labor to what your mucus plug might look like to transition to pushing stage to your placenta and talk to you about placenta encapsulation and stuff like that? No, they're not. I am. I'm really big on education too. All of my clients are very well. Anyone on the people that are watching that know me here, I have taught them something because I'm an education based person. Okay, just like you, Steph, I'm all for informing. That's what I do. That's what I do. Your partner or your mama and your daddy, they're not gonna do that. In fact, I'm gonna be correcting your mama and your daddy because your mama and your daddy sitting here scaring y'all about stuff, and I'm saying no, that's not true. No, just do this. No, don't listen to that. You know.
Um, yes. So we got about I want to say 15 minutes. And so you can choose which one of these you want to talk about before you, because I want you to give takeaways for Black birth workers, but I want that to be at the end. So right now, what we have left is discovering your heritage, building a brand and business away from family, and motherhood.
Okay, that's a lot. Okay,
Yeah, which
so
one?
so okay. First, let me go with I can do all of them real quick.
Okay.
Motherhood, y'all. It's hard out here for a pimp. Okay, I'm surprised my kids ain't busting in the room right now already. um, it sometimes it's hard balancing being a doula and like a birth worker period and being a mom. I have two toddlers. It's hard because when I gotta go to a birth, I gotta go. Right, so whoever I calls on my call center or whatever, like they got to be here right now. If their dad's at work or something like that, like I have to go. Right. Um. Also, just being a mom in itself is just sometimes very hard. Sometimes it's emotional. People don't really understand that. People don't see what's behind the scenes of being a mom. You know. So that's that. And then building my brand. What do you want? I mean, what do you want me to say about building my brand? Like, I feel like when I first started, I think I didn't really know how to build my brand, but I feel like now, if you know who DeShaun is, like you already know that one, DeShaun is a doula. DeShaun do something with babies. They might not know the word doula, but oh yeah, DeShaun be delivering babies, something like that. They know that, or they know DeShaun is vegan, you know. But that's because over time, like I keep posting, I keep up with content, and that's something that I really want all birth workers, especially Black workers, to do because we have to normalize this work. Okay, so we have to normalize like breastfeeding, Black people breastfeeding. We have to normalize like home births, because the more we post about it, the more I post like my clients getting their belly wrapped and stuff like that, oh yeah, we just had a nice home birth or whatever, the more of our people want to do it, or they comment, oh yeah, I want to do this, I can't wait till I get pregnant, whatever. That is a lot. That says a lot, right? Um, and then what was the other thing?
I think just in that section itself, it was just like it was a list of things that you had accomplished because you constantly grinding because business is another baby.
Hmm.
Started a nonprofit,
Oh,
attend.
right. Yeah, y'all, this year it's crazy because this year has been like so sucky, but so good at the same time. Because when I say this year was like, I was and have been a boss, like for real. I'm like really proud of myself because I wrote two books this year. I wrote two children's books. And then I was on a panel with the NAACP talking
Mhm.
about health disparities in Black women in birth. And I got invited to go to Haiti for like some student midwifery trip, stuff like that. It got canceled because of COVID. Um, what else did I do? I don't know. Oh, I started my nonprofit. You know, I had the most clients I've ever had at once. And I really felt like I brought a lot of them together. Like I see now they follow each other on social media, and I love that so much. I love that so much. My 4 year old, my 4.5 year old, he's autistic, and he's just been like booming with like more words and sentences. And then like I started dabbling in like real estate,
Mhm.
and like I just got this house today, and I just started cleaning up, and you know that's like a really big thing for me. Like there's just been so much. I bought a rental property. Like this is all within 1 year. The year isn't even over yet. I feel like
Mhm.
there's other stuff I missed. Oh, I was featured in Voyage magazine, which was something that was so big to me. You know, so yeah, I just feel great. I feel like this year has been just so great, and I feel like it's only up for here, up from here. I got like our student midwifery, our student midwife group together, and I love that so much because I feel like we're building our bond and we're growing together. It's not like dang, because for a while I felt like I was, hey, I'm doing this by myself. I don't even have nobody to call and like vent to or complain to or like be like, look, I don't understand this. Now I feel like we have that. Or like if I have questions or if I have answers, we can all share that within a group and we can all continue to grow together. I'm so excited. I know this. I know it's only up from here, for real, for real. Like, um, I'm excited.
I'm excited too. Um, the only other things as we wrap up is we talked about discovering heritage because you came across a lady named Veronica at an
Hmm.
African shop. Um, tell me a bit about that and knowing if midwifery is for you and knowing if birth work is for you. And then you can jump into takeaways for Black birth workers.
Okay, so yeah, definitely Veronica. That's my sister, man. So, I did like for around Christmas time, I bought the little ancestry DNA stuff, whatever. I'm like, oh, let me just do it, whatever. So I did that, and then the stuff came back that it was that was like mainly from like Nigeria, and then I don't remember the other places, but then a few weeks later, I went into this African shop just to look for clothes, fabrics, right down the street from me. And so this lady there, her name is Veronica. She greeted me. Her accent was very, very thick. I said, "Where are you from?" She said, "Oh, I'm from Nigeria." I said, "Oh, that's interesting because I just got my, DNA and it says this, whatever." And so she stood up and she gave me a big hug and she said, "Oh, you're my sister." And I was like, "Okay." So then we sat down and I just made her tell me everything. I made her tell me everything about Nigeria. And then she looked at me and she's like, "Oh, I know exactly where you're from. You're from like North Nigeria. You're she said you're probably one of the Fulani women." And so I Googled what Fulani women look like and they look just like me. It was so crazy. This is actually how they wear their hair too. Like if you Google Fulani braids, these are Fulani braids here, what I have right now. Um, but yeah, we just really connected. I go in there all the time now. I get clothes. I love African wear for business attire. Because that's my brand. That's who I am. And actually, I'm going to Africa in January on a birth workers retreat. By the way, there's spots left on that right now. Like at first, the spots were filled, then everybody got scared because of COVID. baby, COVID ain't stopping me. Shawnee's still going to Africa. I don't care what y'all say, okay? So now it looks like I'm the only one going with the group leader. So there's spots open. It's in January though. Um, but yeah, I'm so excited to go there. I'm really just discovering and unfolding all my ancestralhood. Like, and my birth practice and my practice is like all about um it's all about traditions. I always go back to this is what our ancestors did. Y'all if y'all hear me talk, I would say, oh yeah, our ancestors did that. I either say ancestors or I'll say like our black granny midwives. When I say ancestors, I mean like going back to Africa. When I say black granny midwives, I mean post slave trade, 19th and 20th century, 21st century black midwives, typically in the southern region. Um, so yeah, but I'm all about that. That's me. That's who I am. And that's what I also mean by I'm black. I'm black. Okay, like that's me. I love being black, you know. Um, and then what was the other thing?
Just knowing if midwifery or birth work is for
Oh,
you and
oh,
what
you'll
takeaways
know.
you have.
You'll know. Um, you just okay, so this is how you know. And this is funny because again, if you read books um about like black granny midwives, you'll see that like a lot of them didn't want to be midwives at first. Like they were like, no, I didn't want to do this, but their moms were midwives and so they happened to go to birth or whatever. And so it's kind of like they ended up being called to do it. They automatically knew how to do it. So if their mom wasn't available, they just hurry up and deliver the baby and then boom, you know. I feel like when you're called to be a midwife, you may at first be like, "Oh yeah, I'll just be a doula." That's what I did. I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna just be a doula," you know, because I feel like, "Oh, midwife, that's too much responsibility. It's too much work, all the studying." Ugh. But I just kept getting called to it, and I would be like, "Okay, I'm gonna do it," and I'd be like, "No, I'm not gonna do it. It's too much work. No." But the calling was too strong, and that's what's gonna happen, and that's it. Um, if you're for birth work, your life is going to reflect birth work. Like you're gonna love talking about birth work. You can eat a slice of pizza and look at a placenta. You know, I can eat a vegan burger, and watch somebody push out a baby. Like it's nothing. You know, um, you'll know. And another confirmation for me is some people that's actually watching right now, like they'll know, they know that I've had dreams like before someone goes into labor,
Mm.
um, which is so crazy because I used to not really think too much into dreams or like, premonition stuff like that until I had a dream about one of my clients, and I was dreaming about her pushing stage, and I was like, that's weird. So, anyways, the next morning she called me or she texted me and told me her water broke.
Mm.
So I was like, okay, well, look at that. And then her pushing stage was exactly like how it was in my dream. And I was in awe. It was so crazy. I was still thinking about it days later. I was like, so crazy. It was just like my dream, you know? Then a baby that I had actually helped deliver accidentally unassisted in October. I didn't have a dream. I had a feeling the night before. I called her at like 9 o'clock at night. I was going to the grocery store. I was like, I'm gonna call her because I just feel something. So I called her. I said, what you doing? Oh, nothing, just chilling. I said, okay, what's your baby doing? Oh, he's just chilling. I said, oh, okay. I just had a feeling I should call you or something. Next day, boom, there it was. Right. Um, someone that's on here right now. I don't. Well, she'll say that I pretty much spoke her baby into existence, and down to the time that she's gonna be due. Um, birth work is just so second nature to me. It's like sometimes the people will be like, "Well, how do you know that?" I'd be like, "I don't know. I just know." It'll be stuff about birth or delivery that I just know. But I don't know how I know it. I just know it. Don't ask me how I know. I didn't look it up in the textbook. I just know it.
Yeah. What takeaways would you like to give any aspiring Black birth workers or any birth workers of color?
I would say, first of all, know that just like your parents told you when you were little that you're gonna have to work twice as hard. because you're black, this is for real. You're gonna have to put in the work. Like you have to work not twice as hard. You have to work like 5 times as hard because you have to work harder because you're black. Then you have to work hard as a black business. So you have to have other people respect you. Like, oh, you own a business? Okay. Then you have to put up with, other non POC birth workers respecting you and maybe even referring people to you. So I see that a lot of them don't do that or won't do that. Then you have to put up with, if you're trying to level up like us, become a midwife around where there's no black people really around to help us, we have to deal with that. So just know you're gonna have to work a little bit harder, and you're gonna have to sometimes pick and choose your battles. Because I didn't spoke my mind to one white midwife already here, but sometimes it's like, okay, it's not worth it. I'll save it for another time. Know that, and then know that you're gonna have to prove yourself. And when I remember prove yourself, you better know your stuff. You better know your stuff, and you better be studying your stuff. Go out there and go to every single class, every single training, every single certification that you can go after. Get it. Go and get it, and post about it. Make posts about it. If you're at a CPR or NRP training, you need to take pictures, videos, and post about it. Let people know that you are here, right? And also build a community with other Black birth workers. So if there's anyone who's aspiring to be a doula on here, like reach out to us. We have a student midwife study group. Um, build a community. Don't be secluded, and don't how do I say? Don't be against other birth workers. Like,
Mm.
don't make it a competition. That's what I mean. Yeah, don't make it a competition. Like, I'm not about to. If I know, like, if I know a client maybe is not fit for me or whatever, I have no issue say, oh, I have another friend that's a doula. There should be no issue with you doing that. It's not a competition. There's babies out here to be delivered, and there's women out here to be taken care of, or people to be out here to be taken care of. So don't make it a competition. Connect with everyone, and be willing to be corrected, and also have room for growth. Make sure that you know that you're going to constantly be growing because everyone is learning their own pace, and you don't always know everything. You can be a midwife for 7 years and still be learning. You can be a midwife for 20 years and still be learning. So as a fresh birth worker, you're going to be still learning. You're not going to know everything, right? A lot of people think I know everything. People come to me all the time. I don't know everything. I know a lot of stuff, but I still have a lot more growing to do.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. I'm grateful for you because I think when we talked in the Zoom call, it went from me thinking that it was just going to be birth work and that was it. And then it was like, no, I got you. You're going to be a
Mm-hmm.
student midwife. You're going to be a midwife. You're going to do all the things and ascend to higher heights. And I think that if I had never reached out to you on Facebook, if I hadn't like tried to connect and continue to communicate, I wouldn't be having this conversation with you and us connect with other women and saving lives and doing all the different things that we do. So I'm forever grateful for you, for sure.
Oh, thanks, Steph.
You're welcome. So yes, if you don't have anything else to share, do you?
No, I think that's it. If there's anyone on here that wants to be a doula, y'all
Yeah,
better hit
reach
me
out.
up. I'm doing training. I'm doing virtual training. I'm doing in-person trainings in December, y'all. I'm doing virtual training right now. Right now, virtual training's only been offered like right now, but I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have it. I'm gonna go ahead and just record it and have it available all the time.
Hmm.
I'm gonna try to work on that soon. There's a lot going on right now, and a lot of people like I had a lot of clients at once kind of thing, and so I'm slowly but surely kind of knocking them out. Um, but and then I have this dual training, the in person coming in December. But I'm gonna try my best to record it so that at least by next year it'll be available. That way you can just go and purchase the recording or something like that. I'm gonna try to work. I might actually ask for your help. Maybe we'll make it into like a DVD type thing. I think that would be pretty
Mm,
dope. What you
that
think?
would,
I think that would
yeah,
be
that,
dope. Yeah. But I think that's it. I'm very grateful for you. I'm very grateful for my community that we're growing. Like this is just so, yeah, I don't know how much this means. It's just okay, there's no words really to describe this and the people that I met this year through freaking delivering baby, well, not delivering babies, but assisting women and delivering babies and educating people and just like connecting. Like this is just, y'all don't understand. This is a revolution. Like I'm telling y'all, yeah, in 2 years and in 3 years, we're gonna look back and be like, remember when, like I'm telling y'all, this is a big movement for real.
It
Birth
is.
starts everything. That's how y'all got here, by being born.
Speak that.
So,
Yes. So thank you all for checking in with us. This was the Inside Scoop with DeShaun, evolving from a Black doula to a Black midwife. And I'm grateful for anyone that shared, that asked questions, checked in, anyone that catches the replay, anyone that shares with someone that you feel will resonate with this. Yeah. Thank you. Everybody have a good night. Peace.
all right, bye.
Bye.